Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we head to Estuary where the community have rallied round to save their church. And we have another dog looking for its forever home in Dog of the Week. And my guest tonight is Sue Wells, Chief Executive of Links Inspire, here to talk about what is being done as part of Drowning Prevention Week. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Emma Lingard. But first, here's Dan Kemp with the news headlines.
Hello there. It's been reported that Hull City Council have begun legal action against the company running the Airco Arena. It comes 2 months after a number of amateur clubs that use the Walton Street venue were evicted from the premises, having been given a month to leave by stadium management company owners Assem and Ehab Alam. It was to make way for the installation of a new artificial 3G pitch for Hull City's youth setup, which would allow them to upgrade the rating of their academy. Humberside Police's counter-terrorism team are taking steps to prevent extremism in schools. From July the 1st, the government Prevent Duty guidance mandates that schools have the responsibility to ensure they prevent people being drawn into terrorism. A briefing will be held on Thursday at the Rope Walk in Barton, with the aim of providing schools and colleges with a greater understanding of their responsibilities, and we'll bring you more in Friday's show. Next up, leading organisations in the renewable energy sector gathered to share ideas and working practices in the East Riding today. The conference was about promoting sustainability and attracting future development to ensure East Yorkshire and Northern Lincolnshire are the industry leaders.
Brings together the employers that can really make a difference in terms of the skills agenda in the region, of course nationally as well. A lot more needs to be done to increase the number of new entrants coming into engineering, and I think it's only by employers working together that we're going to see that shift.
And finally, a full-scale seawall has been erected within a new local exhibition. Cleethorpes Discovery Centre have installed the feature as part of a new look at the way in which North East Lincolnshire interacts with the sea. It includes a look at the way Grimsby's latest seawall was erected, and Ecology Officer Mike Slate explains why it's so important.
Grimsby, Cleethorpes and Birmingham have lived all their lives by the tides and what time of the day they're coming in, going out. We've spent a lot of money in the last few years on sea defences, so it's important that you come and see where that money's gone, why it costs so much, and it's the sheer size of them that gives us the cost.
That's all from me for now. If you've got any news for us, then don't hesitate to get in touch by calling Grimsby, which is 01472 31553, emailing news@estuary.tv, or by searching for us on Facebook or Twitter @EstuaryTV. Bye for now.
Thank you, Dan. Now, in 2014, 338 people lost their lives to drowning. 50 of those were children. As part of a nationwide campaign to encourage children to understand the importance of water safety, youngsters in North East Lincolnshire are being offered safety sessions, and it's being done under the Burnett Water Safety Academy in tribute to the late Councillor Mick, who died in May. And joining me to explain more is Sue Wells, Chief Executive of Links Inspire. Sue, welcome to the programme. The Burnett Water Safety Academy, which sounds like this is a very fitting tribute to a man who has done so much for the area in terms of leisure. Just talk to us then about why this was set up.
Well, you're absolutely right. You've summed it up perfectly, Emma. Mick Burnett was passionate about young people. He was passionate about sport and leisure, but his portfolio not only included sport and leisure, but he had tourism as well, which was passionate to him. So he was also passionate about the beach, yes, and water safety in the widest sense of the word. So every year we've always looked to do something to support National Drowning Prevention Week.
Right.
This year it seemed a very fitting tribute to do something more.
Yeah.
And we've actually linked it into wider learning to swim schemes, but Drowning Prevention Week is a national week, and knowing how passionate Mick was about all things sport, leisure, but fun and safety as well,
yes, yeah,
we've linked it all together to hopefully be a really fitting tribute, and I'm hoping Mick's smiling at us for this.
I will say I'm sure he will be, because it is a wonderful. So the aims then of the academy are to promote that water safety then?
Absolutely. I mean, drowning prevention is just a week in the year. For us, this is year long, year in, year out.
Yeah.
We're linking in, there's two prongs to it. Firstly, we're offering primary schools the opportunity for our trained staff to come in and talk to their young people about safety around water.
Right.
So it's what we call the Rookie Lifeguard programme.
Okay.
So it does teach young people about being safe around open water.
Yeah.
In addition, we're offering schools chance to come in and experience it actually in a pool setting.
Okay.
So again, it's to further enhance those important messages. But then on top of that, we're working with Immingham Town Council, who already sponsor local children to learn to swim.
Right.
So this isn't just about being safe, it's also about learning to swim. So
Okay.
part of the academy is a programme of sponsorship. And Immingham Town Council, as I say, a fantastic example in that they every year sponsor so many children within Immingham to
Right.
learn to swim. They pay for them to attend a 13-week training programme,
Yeah.
and they've been doing that for a number of years. And to be fair, we took that as a really good example, a real good practice,
yes.
and said, actually, how can we make that even better?
Yeah.
So we've committed as a company, for every child that Immingham Town Council sponsor,
Yeah.
we will add to it.
Okay.
So rather than approximately 80 children a year learning to swim, it will be 160.
Okay.
And what we've also said is if there are other organisations in the borough that would like to do the same thing, we will work with them too, because
Okay.
it only costs £54
Which
to
is-
put a child through that learn
Which
to
is
swim.
not I'm going to stop you there. We're going to continue talking about this. So
Yep.
stay where you are, Sue, because this is a very interesting project they're doing. Right, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, there's another dog needing a new home in Dog of the Week. And Dan Kemp returns with the sports news. Now, a business in East Yorkshire that was struggling to find people locally with the skills they needed have teamed together with other organisations to offer training and support to fledgling businesses. LROCS has been set up to increase the number of tradesmen able to deliver solid wall insulation. Erica Barker has been along to find out more.
Businesses working together to enter an emerging market, that's the aim of the LROCS training programme. Haltech Energy deals with solid wall insulation, but they found a local skills shortage. So with the support of the Atlas Group and MGM, they've set up a training programme to equip local tradesmen with the skills needed to get their own business up and running.
We've managed to put a package together where we can upskill local tradespeople for free and show them exactly how to enter the market and give them all of the support required, and then they can go and buy the products from MK. I'd say it's good for everybody. It's good for the homeowner because they're getting a much more energy efficient home that looks brand new. It's good for the installer because they're getting more work. It's good for MKM because they're getting more orders, and it's good for us as a business because we're involved in the supply chain, therefore it's more work for us. And also we have a number of other businesses which can support this, such as scaffolding and installers, so one business can feed the next.
They say it's about utilising local skills without having to look abroad to deliver the product.
I was using an example of certain people that I know have tried to get installers, local installers, and cannot do it, therefore having to go overseas. Then obviously you've got your language barriers, you've got your certain rules that they in their country abide by that's obviously different over here, so it's hard to gauge that sort of accurately, but getting this sort of thing set up really increases local sort of people to and local avenues that people can get down and get installing and earn money, which is the big thing that we need to do.
And with many industries like the renewable sector working together to get the best results, it seems businesses delivering home insulation could follow. Erica Barker, Estuary TV.
Now, still with me in the studio is Sue Wells, and we've been talking about the Burnett Water Safety Academy. Now, before that, Sue, we were talking about how Immingham Town Council in particular is sponsoring children within their area.
That's right.
So how can other people sort of like get involved and help?
Well, we're passionate that basically every child in the borough can swim and be
Okay.
safe. So part of what we're saying is we want to take the Immingham model
Right.
and say, help us to roll that out across the borough.
Okay.
So if an organisation, a group, a business wanted to sponsor even just one child to swim, we will commit to match it. So for every child that's funded through other organisations, we will match that by funding another one too. So ultimately, we aim to get every child in our borough learning to swim, and given that we live on the coast, it is just so important.
I was going to say, that's the thing, being on the coastline, it is an important part of growing up, to know how to swim and to understand the dangers, isn't it? We hear so many stories of people that get caught out at Cleethorpes. Now, you've got a lot of primary schools. Is it just primary schools that this is being offered at?
We're doing the drowning prevention activity across the primary schools because we obviously want to target the very young children. But obviously, in terms of helping children generally to learn to swim, we are open to working with all age ranges, because if you can't swim, whether you're 4 or 16, you are still at risk. So, you know, we're happy to work with all schools in terms of our Learn to Swim programme.
And what's the response been like so far then from the schools?
Do you know what, I'd have to say it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Mary Clark, who is our swim teacher, who's going out and doing all the rookie lifeguard training, I think she's covered about 9 schools this week.
Right.
She's on a complete mission, which is wonderful. We've already got next week booked in and the week after. And in fact, one school even came back to us and said, "This was fantastic, I want you to do the whole of my school." And that came from a deputy principal, which is wonderful. And you know, it's great because we're seeing feedback, we're seeing little emails coming in saying what great fun it was, because Mary makes it enjoyable, even though it's a serious subject. Children can get fun out of it. So, you know, for example, when they do some of the rookie training in the pool, kids get to make a noise and splash. You know, and they're told, make it as noisy as possible, because it's experiencing that difficulty and then showing children how to cope with that. It's no good if it's a nice, calm, pristine pool.
No.
You want that atmosphere.
You do, don't you? Well, it sounds like it is a wonderful initiative and well worth. So if people are interested, what do they need to do?
Right, well, really what they need to do is contact Rob Allison, who is our point of contact for all information. Rob can be contacted at rob.allison.linksinspire.com. That's the best way to get hold of him. Drop him a quick email and Rob will get back in touch. Rob is coordinating the visits to schools, and obviously any business that wants to discuss this, they can contact Rob or they can contact me. I'm more than happy, and it's the same email, sue.wells@linksinspire.com. Or my telephone number is 01472 323674.
Brilliant.
And again, I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about this scheme, because as you can gather, we're pretty passionate about it.
It's a very, very good scheme, and we'd love to have you back to see how well it progresses. Thank you very much there. Now, churches are often at the centre of life and heritage in a village. In North Lincolnshire, the Friends of St Nicholas in Ulsterby have been fundraising to save and improve the church, which is currently without a vicar and was close to being lost. Dave Nunn has been along to find out more about this historic building.
It's at the heart of many rural communities, but the Church of St Nicholas in the village of Ulsterby needed a lifeline in order to stay open. That's where Val Mumby and the Friends of St Nicholas Church Group came in to save a vital and historic part of their village.
Friends of St Nicholas was formed over 2 years ago now. The church was under threat of closure, and it's a Grade 1 listed building, and we hadn't a vicar and we still haven't got one. And we needed the church to survive because villages need churches, and also we need it as a venue, as a second venue in the village. So we decided that we wanted to keep it open, and we had to show that we were willing and able and determined and committed to be able to raise funds in order that then, if the diocese would allow us to, and if the diocese supported us, they would then allow us to go for funding.
The diocese put a 6-month stay on the church, which has now become more permanent as the group, who aren't necessarily churchgoers, aims to raise money to secure thousands of pounds worth of funding. So far they've raised £13,500.
By the end of that 6 months, we already knew that we had the church retained. But what we had to do then was really set about raising 5% of the 500,000. So in fact, our target was £25,000. And at the moment, there are 6 of us. We're normal people. We're not necessarily churchgoers. We're fundraisers.
The funding, which will partly come from the Heritage Lottery Fund, will be spent on necessary repairs and enhancement in order to cement the future of St Nicholas Church as a central piece of Ulsby's heritage.
The money, when we get it, we've gone now for the first bid for funding, and we're applying for £237,000, and that will go towards a new roof, because until we do something with the roof, we're constantly going to be in a problem of disrepair. We have water coming in from time to time, quite often when it's wet, and they're also going to be looking at the spire, and they're also going to be looking at putting us in a servery and toilets, which will be brilliant, because then we'll be able to do more and more events that people can know that they can come and be comfortable and also have some nicer food and hot drinks while they're here and so on. So that will be a tremendous boost to what we're doing.
And that fete takes place this Saturday. Now, joining me in the studio to look at some of the news doing the rounds is Dan Kemp. Dan, what have you found?
We'll start off with some Facebook comments we've received.
Okay,
with regard to the potential job losses at the Young's factory in Grimsby.
Okay.
We've got a few messages. David L, sorry. It says, in real speak, the announcement's been nothing.
Of course, this was in reaction to Martin Vickers asking the questions during Prime Minister's question time yesterday. Yes. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. John William King says, looks like Sainsbury's have lost a customer. How about a few more? They don't support our local economy. Why should we support them? Unless that is why they are about to employ 400 plus locals. A comment on Martin Vickers from Paul Chapman said he promised to help when we were all made redundant a few years ago and we saw little help. It was down to the individuals to help each other. Still, he got his face in the paper and on local news, which I think was the aim. So there's a lot of cynicism.
Well, there is, isn't there? And I suppose this is it. When it comes to job losses, obviously fears for people.
It's very serious, isn't it?
It is very serious, and
of course,
something that we'll be keeping an eye on.
Of course, if anyone else wants to get in touch on Facebook as well.
Yeah,
you know where we are.
Comments, anything else you've
Slightly
found?
more light-hearted, the latest batch of words that have been put in the Oxford English Dictionary. Another 500 words have been put in this year.
That's it. This has been in the new, across the nationals today, hasn't it, these 500 words?
It has, yep. Shall I share a few with you that
Please do.
you might be interested in?
What these words
Well,
are.
I won't make you do the first one, that's twerk.
That's dancing provocatively. Nope. Dave Nunn does that in The Office.
It's not really an Estuary TV kind of thing, that I don't think.
I hope we don't show any twerking on this channel.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, maybe later.
Speaking of Dave Nunn as well, stanky, which is a strong, unpleasant smell.
Do apologise to Dave and his mum for those comments.
Yep, and freegan, which is someone who takes food out of bins.
That's quite a common thing, isn't it?
I'd never heard that word, but I've never taken food out of bins, but obviously...
It's about people who rummage, isn't it, and take discarded items, because it's not necessarily food. It could be things you take out of a tip.
Well, I know.
Like a chair.
Yeah. People do take a lot of things to the tip that other people might find useful.
That could be used. We had that conversation before. Any other interesting words on there? Is there anything which has puzzled you? There was that flotus.
I hadn't got a clue what that meant. That's the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama.
And her husband is a plotus, is it?
He is, but don't let me say that.
No.
A few others like Uber, which is someone or something which is great, or off-grid, which is a state of being off the internet with no Facebook, Twitter, Skype, things like that, and I can sympathise with those people who are off the grid.
Off the grid, that's a good one to be, I think, isn't it? Anything else that you found?
Other stories, we'll move on, I suppose. we can't just do what the Oxford English Dictionary could have been for months. Yeah, this is Normanby Hall, and they've received £100,000 worth of investment for their caravan park.
So that's improving tourism for North Lincolnshire Council, then,
yes,
isn't it?
They're increasing the amount of pitches from 5 to 10.
Okay.
And included in that new
very
shower
lovely part of the county up there, isn't it? Yeah.
Very picturesque. Shower, toilet facilities at the golf club house, controlled entry system for the golf club house, lighting for
Which would you
walkways,
like?
etc. Yeah, I like golf.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Dan. Interesting words there. Now it's time for Dog of the Week. Can you give this canine its forever home?
Dog number 41 has been with us for 4 weeks. He's a mature Jack Russell male. He's already been out once. He does seem to have a bit of a phobia against walking sticks, so preferably go to somebody that ain't got a walking stick. But apart from that, he's a nice friendly little dog.
Oh, what a sweetie. And there'll be another dog needing a home next week. Well, now it's time to go back to Dan Kemp for the sport.
Following their liquidation, the Hull Stingrays have been replaced in the Elite League. The Manchester Storm were elected as the newest member of British Ice Hockey's Premier Division and will take the Stingrays' place for the start of the 2015-16 season. Hull Kingston Rovers are looking to make it into their first Challenge Cup semi-final since their return to Super League almost a decade ago. The Robins host Catalans Dragons on Thursday evening and hoping to welcome back Dane Tills and Sean Lunt for the game at the KC Lightstream Stadium, which kicks off at 8 p.m. In cricket, Yorkshire up to second in the county championship after beating Nottinghamshire by an innings and 8 runs. Despite a superb bowling performance by England's Stuart Broad, Tigers captain Andrew Gale and Jack Leaning both hit hundreds to take the game from the Outlaws. The game yielded 24 points for the White Rose, lifting them to second in the division, ahead of a face-off with leaders Durham, which start on Sunday. And it's been reported that Scunthorpe duo Gary McSheffrey and Isaiah Osborne are both set to leave the club. The pair both just a week left on their contracts and chairman Peter Swan has been encouraging them to speak to others. However, he's made it clear that the door hasn't been shut on their future should a deal not happen. And Bartontown Old Boys have unveiled Paul Sorrell as their new first team coach. He joins the club having previously worked with both under-19s and reserved sides at North Ferriby United. That's all for now. Don't forget to get in contact with us with any stories you have. You can call 01472 3155553, email sport@estuary.tv or search for us on Facebook or Twitter @estuarytv. And that's all for the sport.
Well, that's all we've got time for tonight. Thank you to my guest Sue Wells, who is here to talk about the Burnett Water Safety Academy. And if you are interested in that, then contact Rob Allison at Links Inspire. If you have a news story for us, then go to our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 315 553. Until tomorrow, good night.
Estuary TV's weather, sponsored by Hornsby's, celebrating 100 years in buses.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Friday will be rather cloudy during the morning with a little drizzle and should then become heavier during the afternoon. Few sunny spells with maximum temperatures of 20 degrees Celsius. Bright on Saturday with a little cloud.
Estuary TV's weather, sponsored by Hornsby's, celebrating 100 years in buses.